Hi everyone, if you want to see how I bring this pendant together and use this live edge cabochon, keeping the live edge open on the pendant, then stick around and let's get creative. Hey everyone, it's Leslie from Lola Bell, and in today's video we are going to be working with this absolutely gorgeous Ternate Moss Agate. So you can see that this stone's got a live edge, so it's almost like a druzy edge. Lovely quartz detail at the top. So what we want to try and do is accommodate this within the design so we get some negative space around the stone, so this detail isn't lost underneath the wrapping, because obviously, as you can see, it's absolutely beautiful. And it's got so many beautiful layers moving up through the stone as well, so we want to try and keep as much of the stone visible as we possibly can. So I'm going into this design with an open mind. I've got no design in my head at the moment, and I'm just going to let the stone lead me with where it wants to go. So let's see how this one takes, where it takes us to. I'm using 0.8mm square copper wire that's soft from Metal Clays for You, and I've got 0.4mm half round copper from Rio Grande. And as I always say, I wish I could get more from Rio Grande because I absolutely love all the different gauges and sort of everything that they have. I think they have just a really nice, a really lovely wire. It's really lovely to work with. Anyway, so we're just going to bind the four base wires together with our half round, keeping the flat side down and just giving it a little bit of a mush and tidy up and tighten every now and then. And then we're going to just go one more and then cut off our excess. I'm actually running out of my half round, so I'm going to have to consider actually putting an order in with Rio Grande at some point. So yeah, I'll have to start having a look and seeing what wires they've got and what I want, because it's the postage costs from the States that absolutely smashes me, to be honest with you. So it's, you know, if I'm going to do an order with Rio Grande, I might as well make it worth it. Okay, so we have now created that bind on the wires, and we're just going to work with the stone. So the stone is going to be point down, so it's going to sit onto the wires here. Now the eagle eye of you will notice that the sides are not equal. One is slightly rounded, one is slightly straighter, so it's not going to be a symmetrical wrap. So I'm just going to start by grabbing my wires with my flat nose pliers and just bending them into a V and just getting that shape. So because we've got this sort of uneven shaping on the stone, I'm still going to do the same method of shaping to the stone, but I just want to make sure that the bend in the wire is going to match that of the stone. So there we go. So I think we are just about there. Maybe a tiny bit more. Yeah, there we go. So we can see the wires are more straight to this side than this side, which is absolutely fine because we're following the stone. So we want to we want the wires to have that effect. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start to curve these around this sort of curved edge here, so the wires start to form a shape around that stone at the top. I just want to try and get them to sit nicely, just like so. Now what we can do, is if we put the stone in backwards, we can just kind of look at how that shape fits around that druzy edge and start to shape this side in the same manner. So it's going to just start to follow that curve up and over. Very, very gently, because we don't want to lose that shape that's sort of we've got around the bottom of the stone, because obviously it's slightly different. So then once we've got that in the right place, we're just going to push it down a little bit, and then just get all of the wires to do the same thing. And then we're going to just gently shake the last two wires around our finger. So we're just holding them where the bend is and just gently smoothing them over. Same on this side, just making sure that everything sits where we want it. And then just bring the stone back in, and what you should have is like a little bit of negative space above here. So we still need to do our little ledge on the back, so the stone can sit on it. And then just pop that in, like so. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take the bail off the top of the stone a little bit, so I'm going to have a little bit of a gap on both sides, and that's just going to allow me to keep this detail open. So I'm just going to hold it very, very gently so as not to move all the wires, and then just gently tip them wires up, bring the stone back in, meet them up, work out where I'm bending, grab my wires, tilt them up, and then bring them together. So what we've got is the shape is there. These are crossed over, so they don't sit flush. That's it. So the shape is there, and we can wind our sort of security on our bail. So our bail neck, we can start to wind that up. So we've still got that space. And what you'll notice is where I've kicked these wires in, I've given them quite a small kick here, and that's just to try and stop it from kicking out back here. We want to try and keep this space here clear. Right, so let's grab some half brown wire. So as always, I don't work off the spool when I'm doing the bail, and we're just going to wrap. Actually, I'll keep the stone in. I think we're just going to wrap around all of the wires, just securing everything in. Just get everything sort of set in place, and then we can carry on the build. Okay, just mush them down, squish them in so everything stays where we want it. Grab our tail, and then we're just going to go an extra wrap on the tail, like so. Squish that in. These Ternate Moss Agates are absolutely, I'm going to undo one of those. These Ternate Moss Agates are absolutely gorgeous. So if you are a crystal fan and you like something that's, you know, earthy and, you know, really, really sort of beautiful markings, and like moss agates are always quite intriguing anyway, but these Ternates are absolutely stunning. I've just ordered a few more which have got copper actually in them, and they come from an island called Ternate in Indonesia, but they are absolutely lovely. So yeah, if you are looking for someone to purchase these from, or you want to get some stones like this, then check out Flintstone Studios on Instagram. He's got some absolutely incredible stones. There are other suppliers, but that is where this one came from. Okay, so now you can see that the stone is starting to sit in there quite nicely, and we've still got this negative space. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lock the stone in for a moment, because I just don't want to keep dropping it and risking breaking it. That would be really disappointing. So I'm just going to kick forward on these front two wires. And secure the stone. I've got sweaty hands. It's so warm today in the UK. It's unusual, we're not used to it. Okay, so you can see that we can still see the entirety of the top of that stone at the moment. I'm going to pull the front two wires forward and then separate the remainder of these wires into left and right. So we should have 3 to either side. So just grab hold. I think I went out of focus then. And separate them out so they just are out of the way for a minute. And then bring your half round around. And we're just going to wrap the front two wires. So we're going to go simple bail. Just keep wrapping. Try not to let the half round twist. Just keep wrapping, just keep wrapping, just keep wrapping. Until you've got enough to obviously bend your bail over. And at that point, obviously, we can smush and bend. So there's a lot of beautiful detail on the stone on this one. So I think the design of the pendant should be a little bit simpler. Not because it wouldn't take more detail, but just because you don't want to detract from that stone's beauty. You know, and if you've got loads of wrap above it, and some people might disagree with me on this, and that is entirely your own creative process. But the more beautiful the stone, the more I want the stone to be the center of attention. So I tend to kind of go a little bit less in detail on the actual pendant, but maybe add a bit of texture. So it'll be a simple design, but there'll be texture to it. So maybe twists. There we go. So I'm just going to grab my bail making pliers, grab where I want to bend the bail over, and then as I do so, I'm just going to bring those wires to meet the neck of the bail at the back, like so. And stand up my decorating wires, and then carry on with that half round wire, and we're just going to draw everything in nice and tight, so it all just stays together. So any pendant that's got a negative space needs to be secure, because obviously the stone would have the ability to move if it wasn't tight within the frame. So we want to make sure that it has got security, and we don't want to pull the wires too tight that it then obviously damages the stone or sort of pulls everything out of shape. So there's a fine balance. And I taught a workshop of wire wrapping locally. It was a couple of years ago now, and the people that did it were, you know, to begin with, were kind of like, oh yeah, but it's easy, we've watched you do it and it looks really simple. And then they did it and they were like, oh my god, it's not as easy as it looks. So we did a second workshop, and it's really you know, when you do start wire wrapping, it's all about practice and patience, because, you know, you can really overhold a wire, you can over pull a wire, and it's at those moments when you do that that it all starts to just go a little bit iffy. So all I've done is I've grabbed the two base wires from the back of the bell, pulled them round, and then I'm just going to tuck them in over here on the back. So I'm just going to trim these off quite short, and then grab my chain nose pliers and just tuck them round one at a time and just pinch them in. As well. And there's two. So they're just nice and secure now. Okay, so what we've got left here is 6 decorative wires, and I'm actually gonna do some twizzling. So like I say, I'm going to add a bit of texture. I'm going to twizzle too tight, just a little bit. And then on the opposite side, I'm just going to do the middle wire. So it just gives it a bit of difference. Go in there, you silly sausage. So you just twizzle. These Twizzlers are available on from Amazon, I believe. I think that's where I got mine from. They're not very expensive, but they create quite a big difference. So if you can see on the wires, you've got like this texture, which is really nice. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take wire number 1. So right wire number 1, finger and thumb, bend it round, and then swoop it down. Wire 2, so right side, wire 2, same thing, and then just follow the curve of that first wire. Wire 3, exactly the same, follow the curve, and there is your first detail. Now with these on this side, I'm going to go wire 1, and I'm going to follow that top curve over here and then pull it across. Wire 2 on the left, follow this first wire, and wire 3 is just going to follow there as well. And then I'm just going to grab my flat nose pliers and just lay these out a little bit more and pull this one around a little bit more. So as you can see at the moment, we have a bail detail, but we're not hiding that stone. So what I'm going to try and do here is hold these 3 on this shoulder and angle them around the back and down. So they'll just frame the top of that part of the frame, and then I'm just going to hold them there with my thumb, make sure nothing moves. Now because this Ternate has got a sort of quartz top, I want these connection wires to kind of fall below that a little bit so they can't be seen through the stone. So I'm just going to keep angling that down, and then when I've got to the right place, I'm just going to smush that wire in, go with the second wire, and that will just follow the first, just draw it round and smash it in, and then this one, final wire, draw it round and stuck to me, smash it in. So there you have the first set, and as you can see they've come down and curved around. I'm going to try and mimic that a little bit here, keeping the space for that druzy edge, that live edge, to be seen. So come around, and then we're going to do exactly the same. So it's very, very minimal detail, this one. I just want the stone to be the center of the show, for this. And if you've got a stone that's not necessarily got the detail on the front, so it's got a bit of a live edge, but it's not got the sort of like the added detail of the, like the ternate, you could add swirls in, you could do all sorts. But you want that stone really to be, it's not about, although this is a wire wrapping tutorial, it's more about the stone than the actual wire wrapping. If that makes any sense. Okay, there's one, and the last one. Like that. And then draw that in. So then you can see there that the actual stone is completely visible. We've not hidden any of that live edge. If the sun caught that in the right way, you would get the rainbows. There are actually rainbows up here. So if the sun caught that in the right way, you would see the crystalline formations. You can still see all of the different, you can see the moss at the bottom, and you can see as it grows up into sort of a, maybe an agate or a chalcedony sort of level, and then up into the quartz. This one, now it's not got my fingerprints all over it. You can just see how much shine it's got on it. So you could oxidize this. I have oxidized ternates with a live edge before, and it's gone quite well. You could pop a bead in here. You could pop a bead up in here. You know, there's many options, but the main point of this video is to give you an example of how you could wrap to keep that live edge visible. Okay, so there you go, how to wrap with a live edge. So if you've got any questions, comments, feedback or anything, just pop them in the comments. I always love to read your comments, they always make me smile. So I always love to hear from you. And if you try this one, or if you've got an open live edge stone that you want to give a try to, let me know how you get on. Let me know if you do anything different or how the design comes out in the end. Keep an eye out for the live studio sessions, which are every other Wednesday, and join me live, make along. I will be putting details in the community posts the week before, so if you want to make along with me, you can make sure you've got bits ready, so wire or stones, etc. And if you haven't already, then please feel free to like, share, subscribe, all of that fun stuff, and I shall see you all in the next video. Thank you all so much, guys, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.